Hello, my name is Mackenzie and I'm autistic and an ADHDer, and this is my YouTube channel, Autistic Musings. One day I will have words that just pop out there. Anyway, on my channel I spread autism awareness by explaining autistic terms, giving unique solutions to uniquely neurodivergent problems, and by sharing my own experience as an autistic person. I hope I'm talking loud enough. Anyway, this episode I will be speaking about the emotional experience of getting diagnosed late. I do have another episode where I talk about how I actually got diagnosed and when that happened. I will put the, is it on this side or this side? That little thing that pops up to the other video if you'd like to see that and then see this. I think whichever way it will still be good. But I'm going to be talking about the emotional experience, not my strong point, of being diagnosed late as an autistic person. So stick around and see the mess that is my emotions. Yeah, not like my room. Welcome back, all my returning viewers. I am just so honored that you decided to come back, and to all the newcomers, welcome. I'm if you could just put below why you decided to click on my channel, that would be fabulous. Maybe introduce yourself. I also like that. That'd be great. But as you can see, I have my normal background. It's back because my room is kind of clean. But it's been a great month so far. Or it's okay. But I'm getting my hired on to a new job soon at Able, and I'm really excited about that, and a whole bunch of other stuff in my life. I'm kind of excited about the room being kind of clean. It's always an achievement for me, at least. Today, though, we are going to be discussing the emotional experience of getting diagnosed late as an autistic person, which is quite a roller coaster, truly. I am not very good with my own emotions, so this took a lot of work to go through it. It's an alexithymia thing. I say it like that because the first person that I heard say that word was from the UK, and I just alexithymia. It's like that. It comes out like that. But anyway, I have this, like, I had to write this down and over highlight it because I'm an over highlighter in order to order my thoughts and emotions, because it does not come easily to me to do all that. I have to go over and over again. Comment below if you're like that as an autistic person. It takes a while for me to process my emotions and figure out what's going on up there. Just does. So I'm gonna split it up into 3 points to keep myself somewhat organized in my thought process. It's kind of everywhere, kind of not. Anyway, I'm very nervous to be doing this episode because I don't usually talk about only my emotions in the videos, but I will stick to it. Let's get started. So, one of the biggest things that I've noticed, me and other late diagnosed people, I mentioned it on a live with Sing, Create, Play. If you want to check out Bella, it's at Sing, Create, Play. She's fabulous. I love her. You should go check out her page. And she does all kinds of lives. I've been on 2 of them, and I plan to be on more. It's always a lovely discussion, and she does lots of autistic guests and parents, all types of people in the autistic community. And it's just amazing to be on her little page and see all her stuff and talk to her about wonderful topics. But our last live, we discussed accepting you're autistic. And it was really interesting because we noticed as we talked, it's much easier for children to, because it just kind of becomes a fact about you versus As you get older, we noted that in adolescence it becomes a bit harder because you don't want to be different. Then as an adult, there is a really high chance of you doubting yourself, even though there's like evidence that you're autistic, you've gotten diagnosed late. It's really hard to understand that despite the fact that you got through life without help and fulfilling your needs, and no one noticed or anything to the point that they got you on the path to diagnosis, that you still need extra help and you're disabled. Like, it's kind of hard to accept that as an adult versus as a child. And just because you didn't get help doesn't mean that you don't need it. It's a really hard thing to accept, and it took me quite a while to like accept that about myself. And I hear it from other late diagnosed people that it's kind of like a circular logic that kind of revolves around many autistic stereotypes, like the fact that the areas I struggle, like I can get a job, I don't do well at jobs, as I noted earlier on and everything. It goes into a circular logic of I made it this far in life, I must be okay. It must not be like a huge issue, or I must not be struggling enough because no one noticed at this point that I was struggling. Very circular logic there. I've definitely been gone through this myself, and I still go through this type of logic of, oh, I'm okay, I'm not struggling that much, despite like all the sensory things that are bothering me, all the social struggles I experience, and all the things that I struggle to on a day-to-day basis. It comes down to that I'm really used to struggling, and a lot of autistic people are. It's very normal for me on a day-to-day basis to struggle to just do basic things, and it's normal for me. And the only difference now is that like I can, well, there's a lot of differences now, but like before I got my diagnosis and I went through the process of being self-diagnosed to being diagnosed, I just thought this was normal. I just thought all these things that I was struggling with, I had really bad internal thoughts of I wasn't trying hard enough constantly because everybody else's efforts seemed to be so far above mine, and me trying 100% in a social situation does not look great. Overall, I was trying to meet all the expectations socially for a 20-something-year-old woman, just trying to like meet the social expectations for my age group. And I was like failing miserably, and I was miserable trying to meet them. And I just can't take that many people and interacting with them on a day-to-day basis. It makes me a little bit nuts and makes me have meltdowns and everything. But I was used to this. I was used to the struggle. I thought this was normal. I thought this was just like me not trying hard enough. And at the same time, I thought I had made it to this point in my life. I couldn't possibly be having that much trouble, which brings me into my next point, a lot of gaslighting in my childhood. So a lot of autistic people just experience this in general, which is unfortunate because then it makes us more at risk to be manipulated later on in life, and we're already at risk to be in an unsafe situation and being oblivious to certain social dangers because of an ability with or struggle with cognitive empathy. Being able to tell what's on people's faces, read social situations can be somewhat dangerous for us. And added on top of that, that very often throughout my childhood, I was told things about myself and my motivations, and that I was focusing on the wrong thing, too much on too little details, that I was misinterpreting situations, even though I wasn't. I was just being socially inappropriate with pointing out certain things, and that I was told that I was being malicious and cruel when I was just like acting in ignorance and stating things bluntly. And gaslighting, just so everybody knows, is a specific type of manipulation where the manipulator is trying to get someone else or a group of people to question their own reality, memories, and perception. And within the autistic community, we have a lot of different perceptions going on, and our reality is a bit different to deal with than most people's. So even if this person isn't necessarily being malicious, often we're told that things aren't happening that are definitely happening to us. Like, some of us are feeling pain with certain sensory information, and often we're told we're being dramatic. This may be with eating food. This may be with certain environments. This may just be with day-to-day sensory issues like hygiene. And we're told that we're being dramatic, or it doesn't hurt that badly, or that's not what's happening. And this is gaslighting. When an autistic person is being told they're not feeling pain, or it's not that bad, but there is pain and there is discomfort, and it's very, very uncomfortable. And we're being told often when we're children, when we're experiencing all these autistic traits, that it's not happening. Like, it's not happening. I'm not experiencing executive dysfunction. I'm just lazy. I'm not trying hard enough. I'm not trying hard enough in social areas. I'm not trying hard enough in school when I'm desperately trying to keep organized, but everything's a mess and I can't seem to start tasks and break them down. Like, all these things that I experienced, very often I was told that's not what was happening. That wasn't right. My interpretation of the situation wasn't right. My reality wasn't right. And I was just not trying hard enough, because obviously I was smart and I could do things. And I was just like making stuff up and being lazy. This was often a narrative fed to me. And I'm not the only one there. A lot of autistic people have been told things that are happening aren't actually happening. And unfortunately, this makes us more at risk once we experience this for other people to manipulate us and tell us that things aren't happening that are actually happening. Gaslighting, yeah. So yes, I frequently experience that in childhood, and let me tell you, it leads to a lot of mental health problems. I have an anxiety disorder. There's lots of anxiety that I experience. And that was definitely a contributor. Like, I don't know if everybody knows this. I'm very into psychology, so I often don't know how much other people know, because I know a lot and the basics are super fun to talk about, and I can't imagine other people not wanting to know it. So these things that we get told in childhood, and that I got told in childhood, we internalize them, and the thoughts that we think in our head later on about our feelings or an experience of reality can carry over from childhood on what we were told. Adults around us and people around us can either validate our reality, tell us that, oh yes, that's real and that's happening to you and that matters and that's really happening and I understand, and they can empathize with us, or they can tell us it's not happening and invalidate our reality, which eventually leads to us doubting the reality as it happens when we're adults in our heads. And I very often experience this, which leads to me doubting me being autistic, even though I have been diagnosed. It's very obvious to a lot of people, especially now that I've gotten my anxiety under control. I tend to act more autistic because it makes me more comfortable with my sensory environment. Not more autistic. My autistic traits just show because part of it is stemming, and that makes me more comfortable with my sensory environment, and I just do it more because I'm not anxious about people judging me 24/7, kind of little. It's lower than it used to be. But anyway, back to the topic at hand. Late diagnosed autistic people, I don't know about them, but I've often heard we doubt ourselves. We tend to doubt ourselves all the time because we tell ourselves we made it this far, all these internalized things that we were told, that I'm just not trying hard enough. I'm just not working hard enough. That's why I'm struggling so much. And I'm making things up, and I must not have that much of a problem, even though I'm crying about this situation and it's so hard for me, and I constantly have trouble with all these sensory things. I must be making it up because it doesn't seem as bad as what other people experience, because we're minimizing our own sense of what we're feeling and our reality and our perception. When you get told all this stuff in childhood, you minimize it and you invalidate your own reality in your head, because you got gaslit in childhood and told that your reality, it wasn't happening. No, that's not happening. So a lot of us that got diagnosed later on in life constantly think we're making it up because we got told constantly in childhood, when we were telling people about these issues and our problems, that we were making it up, that we were exaggerating, that we weren't trying hard enough, that all these things that we were experiencing, at least in my experience and how I've listened to other people, we weren't experiencing it. It wasn't happening. We were being dramatic. We were being insensitive in social situations and just not considering other people's feelings. We knew what we were doing. But why did I ask what's happening? Anyway, all of these things are, at least in my perspective, part of being diagnosed late as an autistic person. A lot of women experience this, men too. Not gonna leave them out. A lot of them experience this when they're diagnosed late because we just got missed. That sounds terrible, that somebody just missed me. And it sounds terrible that I've kind of suffered throughout my childhood because no one identified that I was autistic, and I didn't have the words to explain some of the issues that I was experiencing. And when you have words to verbalize what you're going through, and as I listen to the autistic community, it's much easier for me to verbalize my own experience because I've been in situations and now I have words to define what I'm experiencing rather than saying I'm not trying hard enough. I can tell myself now that, oh, the lights are disturbing me and I'm having an uncomfortable sensory experience with all the noises and it's deeply overwhelming, and maybe I should just go away from the sensory environment and take a break, because that's what the other autistic people I talk to do, and they're just experiencing sensory overload, and so am I, so I should just go away. And it works because that's what I'm experiencing. So yeah, having the words, having all of this, defining the terms really helps me, and listening to the autistic community really helps me in my own mental health journey, and I'm still going through it. Don't think that after you learn all this that you're not going to doubt yourself and everything. It's just going to be a little less, and once you go to therapy too, I go to therapy, it gets easier to cope with your own internal thoughts. Like it does, as mental health goes, it's more like a roller coaster rather than straight up. I hope this was useful to somebody, and if you want to share your own experience as a late diagnosed autistic below, I would love to hear it. Similarities different from my own experience, anything in there that you learned new, all that stuff. This turned out to be longer than I expected, for sure, but I feel like it was good, kind of cool. I never know. So let me know below how you felt about this video. Do you want to hear more like this where I talk about my emotions? I will. I mean, my therapist will like it, but I will, if you guys like it. Let me know in the comments below, and I hope you join me, not next week. I hope I didn't say next week on the last video. I hope you join me next month on Autistic Musings. Bye!